one. Yes, it records your voice. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. So anyway, this is the chain rule with the formula. Okay, so way back to the first page. Chain rule formula is this one right here. Okay? So I'm going to stick it. What? If I remember, I do, but sometimes I just don't remember. You know my fault. Okay.
I want to retreat.
All right, here we go. Oops. Okay, so this is the formula that I'm referring to. All right? Y prime, this is your chain rule formula. You're taking this is your composite function, f of g of x. Now that's going to change. They're going to call it different things, but this is the formula you need to remember, is the f prime of g of x times the g prime of x. Okay? So let's say we're going to do this one right here to start. And we don't have f of x and g of x like we did with the chain rule application. We have table values. All right? So first we're going to write out the f prime of g of 1. All right. F prime of g of 1. Okay, so we're just going to follow what we know. All right, we're easing into the chain rule. These aren't really chain rules quite yet. Okay, so what is the g of 1? Here's 1, here's g of 1, right here, there's 2. So what we're going to do is replace this with 2, and f prime of 2, here's 2, f prime of 2 would be -6. I'm done with it. Okay? Now, I realize that we didn't use the chain rule. We're getting used to the chain rule. That's what I said. We may or may not need all these examples. Okay, so f prime, and then we're going to do some chain rules down there. And we'll just make them up. Okay, f prime of g of 7. All right. F prime, what's the g of 7? Here's 7. G of 7 is 7. Okay? F prime of 7 is 7, f prime of 7, 144. Done. Okay? Yes? No, we're not doing a chain rule yet. We're just kind of getting used to the table, and then we're going to do it using the table. Okay? So go ahead and do this one. If we get this one, we're done. We'll move on to the chain rule. So go ahead and do this one right here. G prime of f of 6.
Wait, so
all right. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to fill in here. Did you get it? Okay. So that's how to work with the table. Did we use a table like this before? I feel like we did.
okay. I only have like 3 numbers.
Okay, right. Same idea. Okay, so now let's figure out, we're not going to do these because you all got it. Let's do some chain rules because that's really what we need to use for the thing. So here's your chain rule formula. You will need to memorize this right here. Okay? Let's say we want to know what the f of the g of 1 derivative is. Okay. So these 3 first examples, they were not derivatives, they were just using the table. Okay? So now this is a derivative. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Some people will be really confused about putting that 1 in. Like myself, if I memorize a formula, I like to write the formula down. So here's your formula. F of g of x derivative is f prime of g of x times g prime of x, right? That's just the formula, okay? Now I'm going to go back, and so this is my memorized formula. Since I have a 1 here, I'm going to put my 1 in. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. 1, 1, 1. Okay? If you start getting away from the memorized thing, sometimes that's confusing. It's up to you. It just depends on your brain. Okay, so here we go, we're just gonna plug in. Now, this says the f prime of the g of 1, so I gotta know what the g of 1 is. What's the g of 1? From the table. 2, right? Here's 1, here's the g of 1. All right, so f prime at 2 times, what's the g prime of 1? There's g prime of 1 right here, so that's 29. Don't write g prime again because the g prime of 1 is 29. Okay, what's the f prime of 2? Negative 6. Because here's 2, f prime of 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 times 29 is negative something? 174. Sounds good. Okay?
Wait.
So that's the chain rule. I'll do another couple examples. So that's a chain rule using the formula with the table. The table and the calculator are the graphs you're going to have to use. That's different than when you have an f of x equation. Okay? All right, inside out, write the formula, here we go. All right, let's try another one. Let's do the g of f this time. All right, let's do the g of the f of 1 and see what happens. I don't have too many. Very good. Okay. So, that's what I want to know. This is a derivative. So I need to, and I see, oh, it's a composite function. So first I'm going to write the equation for g of the f of 1 derivative. Okay? All right, so who wants to do that for me? Switch around my f and my g. So you should be looking at your formula and kind of switching things. Go ahead, Taylor.
G prime times f of x.
Okay, this is of f of.
F of x.
Okay, so she's doing x first. Good idea. Let me get my x going here. All right, so go ahead.
Times f prime of x.
Right. Okay. So because the g is of the f of x and then the derivative, we have to switch around the f of the x. So you really need to know that so then you can just switch it around. Sometimes you're going to do the g of the g. Sometimes you're going to do the f of the f. Okay. So now we are going to switch out and make a 1. All right, here we go. 1 goes here, here, and here. All right, 1, 1, 1. Here we go. Back up to the chart. You want to try it first?
Yeah.
All right, go for it. So let me get it all erased. What'd you get? 0? Awesome. Very good. So you looked up the f of 1. F of 1 is what? 9? What was it? F of 1 is 3. Okay. Times the f prime of 1 is 0. Now typically we could stop right there because I know I'm going to multiply by 0. Just be careful, just because sometimes it does not exist or something. So the g prime of 3 is 9. So 9 times 0, 0. Very good. All right. Let's do the f of the f of 2 derivative. The do it from start to finish. I'm going to start this way, y'all work. F prime at f of 2 times f prime of 2, right? F of 2 was what? 4 times f prime of 2 was -6. F prime of 4 was 18. 18 times -6 is -108. Okay? So we're good with the chain rule. Let's try one with graphs. Very pretty. Now, they're giving you information, but it's a little bit more the calculus way where it's a little bit more subtle. Okay? Get your calculator out if it's not. And I'm thinking some of you all have slope formula in your calculator, so you can use it here when that becomes necessary. Okay. And I did these wrong again. Dang it. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of these. I wrote them wrong. Oh, wow. Okay. I need to delete them. Okay. Here's what I really meant. So switch it up here. I really meant the f of the g of 1 prime. Okay. We'll just take some, and I wrote them all wrong. I don't really need to do what we started with that. Okay? We'll just start right away into derivatives. Okay? So the f, and that should be a derivative of the whole thing. Okay? So get rid of that other stuff, and we'll just start right into the derivatives. All right. First of all, you're going to start with, of course, your formula. Okay? So, you can put the 1 in your formula, or you can put the 1 in later. What is it? What's your formula for the derivative of a composite function? Now, right. Okay? So if you're in the middle of it, good job, Molly. You know, the one maybe won't throw you out, but once you're talking about all the derivatives, it might. Okay, so now we're going to get these things off of there. All right, so of course we're going to start with the f prime of, we're going to start with the g of 1. All right, g is the red function. Okay, so the g of 1 is red. Oh, what is it? -5. Here's the g of 1. Okay? All right? G prime of 1. We don't know. What does G prime of 1 mean? The slope.
Pardon this interruption. This is for 108 Lutmer.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lutmer, I haven't gotten you.
So, what does that mean when we take something times D and E? Right, we're not going to get it to exist. Okay? So that was a good one to start with because we have it too complex there. All right. So this is, all right. All right, let's find, let's do a different one. But good job catching that. But 0 and D and E, that's a big difference, so be careful. 0, it would be a horizontal. But remember, this means the slope of the g function at x equals 1. And that's what it means. You gotta keep saying that to yourself because that's the kind of thing that will help you remember, oh, wait, I can figure out the slope here. Okay. So how about the g of the f of, let's go for 2. Okay? And again, it's kind of like the same thing, so are we going to, why is it kind of like the same thing?
No, you have on the paper.
Okay. Is this going to, never mind. It is going to be the same thing, Molly. You didn't miss anything, did you? Okay. Why is this going to be about the same thing? G prime of f of 2 times, what's the rest of it? F prime of 2. What's going to happen with the F prime of 2? There's another corner, so again, this is not going to exist. Okay? Because of the corner here. It's not differentiable at a corner, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So let's find one that might exist. We don't want any corners, so let's say g of the f of x, not x, how about, let's go for 4. Okay? All right, and we want the derivative at 4. So here we go. We start with the formula. All right, so let's give me the formula. Go ahead, Megan.
G prime of f of 4 times f.
Very good. Okay. Oh. All right, very good. Okay, so we are going to start with what? Allie, what are you going to start with? F of 4. Good start. Okay. F of 4. All right. F is the blue function. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. F of 4 is about right here. Okay. All right. We know this is 2, 6. This is -6, 0. This is 2, 6. Okay. Go ahead and figure out my slope, because we may need that eventually. Well, we're going to use them all, so we're just going to get them all and fill them all in, so we'll have them all. Okay, but good point. K is good. She's like, we're not going to need this slope. We're going to need the F of 4, which is over on this slope. Okay, so you got a formula. You got a program in your calculator. Let's go find all the slopes. Yes. You could do rise or run. Yes. When I was looking at your calculators, I gave you the slope formula. Go to the program. On your calculator, I can't do it here because I don't have it on my. And scroll down and find slope. Never mind it. Well, I don't know.
I had them all, but I got a calculator too.
Yeah, I have a new calculator.
Okay, so what's my slope? Rise over run.
3/4.
I'm using my formula 3/4. Okay. All right, let's go through over here and find the slope here. That's better. Okay, but good job counting. That's bad. And you're welcome to use -1.5 if you like that better. I'm just gonna put it there because it fits better in there. Okay, go ahead and find this red slope right here. Yep. Yep. Good job. Oh, wait. Oh my gosh, I can't write sideways. We don't want to use a decimal for that because it's not pretty. Okay, go do that last one. There's just scripts. All right. Now we're going to do some estimating instead of actually finding. So technically, we know this is up here at 6. So we'll just estimate. What do you think this is right here? And we could find it exactly by getting the equation of y, right? Okay, but we're not gonna do that, just, we're going to, so the f of 4, we're gonna say is 3. That's our best estimate. Okay? All right, f prime of 4. What is f prime of 4? Which one of those slopes are we looking at? Which one? 3/4 or negative 1.5? You know what's that? Negative 1.5. Okay. All right. Because remember, this means the slope of the f at x equals 4. All right. The f is blue, so x equals 4 is right here. That's the slope of that line. Okay. Now, what's the g prime of 3? Don't say it out loud. G prime of 3. You're looking at the red function. G goes this way. Which piece are you looking at? The 5/3 or the negative 5/3? All right. Which one, Jessica? The 5/3, because that's where 3 is right here. So you're looking at 3. The slope at that point, since it's linear, it's all the way at 5/3. So 5/3 times, I'm going to go back to negative 3/2 because it's going to make my math a lot easier. What's that? 5/2. Positive or negative? All right. 2.5 is fine. Okay? Usually this is unusual. I mean, we could go to a lot of trouble to find that, but we're not. We're just going to estimate it for now. Okay? Any questions on that? This is, pause for a reaction here when I ask about any questions. The slope of g at x equals 3. You got to keep saying that to yourself just because that's what it means. If it has mean, it's going to mean that. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do, I don't want to get to the points here. Let's do the, do it -2. All right, you want to do the g of f or the f of g? Have a preference? F of g. F of g. Okay, f at g of 2 derivative. -2, thank you. Okay. All right, you want to try it from the beginning? All right.
No problem again. Is it -2 or 2?
-2.
Is it right?
Okay. So f prime of g of -2 times g prime of -2, right?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. F prime, what did you say the g of -2 was? 0. Very good. Okay, there's no question about that. What did you say the g prime of -2 was? Okay, very good. All right, that's the slope of the g, which is the red, at -2. Okay? All right, what did you say the f prime of 0 was? F prime of 0, that here's 0, f prime of 0, 3/4, that's the slope.
Did you use negative? Yeah.
Slope of f at x equals 0. Hello, what happened? Okay, and then times -5/3. I've heard a couple -5/4.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right. Okay. All right, should we do one more or are we good? Because we have, all these are this kind of thing with the other one, and so they've got like an A to B. We can get started on that after lunch. Okay, let's do one that doesn't require, that it's pretty intense, but a little bit leveled up from, did I turn my thing back on? From yesterday. I'm gonna pick one off here that we're not gonna do, but just, okay, so let's do, I'm gonna do 34 from the handout. Okay, it looks simple. Y equals x sine of 1 over x. Okay. Do you want to try it? Or do you want to dive into it with me? Together? All right. Solidarity. Here we go. Okay. So, if you were looking at this and reading it to yourself, how would you read it? Y equals X times sine of 1 over X. Okay. So probably we can start with, what is it, Allie? Product rule. Okay. I'm going to spell out my product rule. This is a product. You say product before you say or, you know, something within something. That's not, you don't start with the chain rule. Okay? So X prime times the sine of 1 over X. What's the rest of it, Laura? The product rule.
Okay, and then
First and
X
second.
times the derivative of sine of X.
Very good. Okay. So. I just grabbed the wrong eraser. Okay. Now this is what? That's not what the answer I was looking for. Chain rule, that's right. Because you know the derivative of the sine, but you don't know the derivative of the sine of 1 over X. So if it's more convoluted than just a single variable, it's a chain rule. Okay. So we're going to go off to the side and do this. Sine of u, will that work? Where u equals 1 over X. Do we know that yet? Yes, we do. Okay. Derivative of sine, we know, right? What's that? So cosine of u, we'll put that in later. Okay, what's the derivative of 1 over X? 1 over almost. 1 over X, remember, is X to the minus 1. It'll be negative 1 over X squared if you want to do it like that.
Wait.
That comes over around power rule. We put the negative 1, and then we decrease that by 1. And that would be this, too, whatever you like.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right. So that's what I'm going to put in there. What's the derivative of X, Ella? 1. Sine of 1 over X plus X times, this is where we did it down there to the side. We said, you want to do negative 1 over X squared, or do you want to do negative 1 X to the minus 2? Negative 1 over X squared. Okay. All right.
Why can't we just do the other one? Wait, what happened to the first one?
Oh, gosh. Gosh.
We didn't finish the training.
Surely didn't. Okay.
I was freaking out.
Cosine 1 over X times negative 1. I'm going to put the negative over there. And then we're going to put the X squared. Like underneath. You all live with that?
Yeah.
Wait, why did you put that?
Oh, there's negative 1.
Yeah. I put my U back in. Oh gosh, my phone's ringing. Okay. Alright, you all like that?
Yeah. Oh, that's not even my ringtone, but it's not.
Well,
I always think, oh my gosh.
what calls me? Where is it? You all heard it before I heard it, didn't you? Those young ears. Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about it. Pretty soon we'll get a divorce when they do that. Okay, so that's the calculus. The rest is algebra. Let's see how you do on the algebra. Remember when you thought you were good at algebra?
I like pre-algebra. Algebra 1 was bad. Algebra 2. Can we keep it? I think how it is.
Okay. All right. This is simplified, right?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, there's no way you can change that to like a simple fraction. You could, but all we did basically is combine these two guys, right? Okay. Read them. We're done. Okay, so that was, almost time for lunch. Yeah.